Suck black, yeah. Suck black. Suck black. Suck black. Suck black.
What up, world? Welcome to Talk Black, where we challenge stereotypes and embrace the rich diversity within the black community. Get ready for raw conversations as we unpack the black experience in a world that's still figuring it out. Remember, it's not color, it's culture. My name is Emmanuel Green.
I'm Ashley Jade.
Let's talk black. All right, Ashley. So the last time we ended our first episode, and you had asked the question to our audience, and so yeah, we're going to start there with the answer to that question. So for those that didn't watch, well, basically you can go back and watch the first episode, but we're going to go ahead and start with that. So yeah, let's start with what you had asked and give us the answer.
So if you guys watched the last podcast, we mentioned at the end of the video, I told my age a little bit, but I said Nickelodeon Yellow Frog. So if you're familiar with Gullah Gullah Island, Benya Benya Pollywog, then you got it right.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. We're going to have to, and we'll have to like put a clip of that like on this just so people can see, because I remember, and give us like just so some nostalgia, because I remember the show, but I didn't watch it. So
yeah, so basically it was a Caribbean family. It's a black family that was on Nickelodeon. It actually did really well, but it didn't last that long. But Benya Benya Pollywog, he was actually like the pet, I guess you can say, almost kind of like Dino. He was like a Dino for the Flintstones.
Oh.
But he was always hanging around. He was always hanging around the family. So, but like I said, if you watched it, you know exactly who Benya Benya was. He didn't speak English. He just always was like Benya Benya. So, yeah. But that's what he was.
Crazy. All right. So, yeah, and we'll put that clip of that on so you guys can check it out for those of you who don't know. I just remember the show. I didn't watch it, but I do remember the show. So,
Definitely. As
always, just want to start off with a little bit of fun for you guys. So now we're going to get deep and down into the conversation here. So today's topic, guys, what we're going to talk about a little bit more is microaggressions in the workplace. What we experience as African Americans, as people of color in the workplace. Talk about different experiences in that light, and have a comfortable space to talk about that, and just touch on what we have been experienced and what we've been exposed to, what we have experienced in the workplace. So first, I want to start off with a little history, though, because me and Ashley were talking prior, and she taught me something I didn't know about. So, and I also learned about something else, which I'm going to tell you guys about. So first off, just kind of stemming from what microaggression, where it stems from. And a lot of it's because obviously we all know in this country, how we got here and what we had to deal with, stemming back from the 50s, which obviously me and Ashley don't have that experience, but our grandparents and grandparents kind of concept. We all kind of stem from somebody came from somebody's plantation kind of concept. But ultimately, what an interesting topic was for me that you were telling me about, Ashley, were sundown towns, which I actually never heard of, didn't know what they were. So can we kind of, obviously we're not speaking from experience, but just kind of what you knew and what you know about those, just so we can educate the audience on some of this stuff from back in the day, and then obviously we'll get more current. But sundown towns, what those were, as far as from your knowledge.
Sure. So sundown towns, from my perspective and just what I've generally seen on TV and heard about, were basically towns that were predominantly one race, white. And if you were caught, if you were black and you were caught in those towns after a certain time, then, trouble was expected. Or, pretty much they could do anything to you. So that's pretty much the basis of what I know about sundown towns. But what I told you earlier and talked about earlier, where I was in Phoenix and I was just driving through, and there's literally a neighborhood that's called Sundown Estates. The crazy part is I don't know if it's blatant. I don't know if those people who are living there know exactly what that is, or maybe they know exactly what that is, and it's just, we know and we hope but I just wonder who's living there. That was my first question, was like, I wonder who's living there and if they really do truly know what sundown is.
Wow, yeah, and that's something, like I said, I didn't know existed growing up in New Mexico. Wasn't exposed to that, but that was just an interesting topic that we had talked about a little bit. And now I'm watching shows now, like documentaries and stuff that are relevant today, and they're talking about the sundown towns that existed, back then. And some of these are abandoned towns now and stuff, but it's a very, very real thing. And I think, as far as culture, that's what we're talking about, right? It's not color, it's culture. We, as African Americans, people of color in this country, need to understand the significance of those, what those were, and what that meant to our history. And then the segue on top of that, the Green Book. So that's something I was introduced to not too long ago myself. I did hear about it here and there about what the Green Book was, but the concept of the Green Book was, obviously back in the day, we couldn't travel freely, safely anyway, around this country. Like we do now. And so the Green Book was just almost like a directory of like places, hotels and stuff that you can go to as a person of color, African American in this country, where you could feel safe and safe passage. So that's what the Green Book was. You had mentioned to me there was a movie, so that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and watch that. What was the name of that movie?
So the name of the movie is called The Green Book, and it's with Mahershala Ali. I forget who his co-star is, but he's basically he's a free man, free man of color, and he's being driven around by a white chauffeur with the Green Book.
What?
I haven't watched it yet, but I should have that on my list as well to watch. But I do remember that movie coming out, and Mahershala Ali is the star.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put together a list for you guys of movies that you should check out. So that's on my list right now, and I'll have one for you on the next episode of a movie I think we should all watch as well. But yeah, so we just kind of wanted to give some context on some of that. So you're talking about microaggressions. We're talking about microaggression, and that's really, really aggressive, right? Obviously, for our experience back in those times, the Jim Crow era. Because you got to realize, we've only been out of that for maybe 50, 60 years. So, and people say, hey, get over it, da-da-da-da. And obviously, we've never experienced it, but it's just one of those things, like, at the end of the day, that's still where a lot of this stuff in the workplace and a lot of the perceptions that people have of black people and people of color in the media stems from the stuff that was just the norm back in the day. So we have to recognize this. And so that's why we wanted to talk about it, although it's not something we have experience with. We just wanted to kind of touch base on where this topic is stemming from, so everyone has an idea of where we're starting from and why these aggressions exist in the workplace. So I guess now getting into the meat and potatoes, as they say, of the main conversation. So yeah, Ashley, I wanted to start off and have you start this conversation when it comes to your experience in the workplace and what you've experienced in the workplace concerning, the kind of, what your experience is with microaggression in the workplace. So go ahead, give us your take and experience on that.
Sure. So my experience in the workplace as far as microaggressions, and like Emmanuel said earlier, it's not color, it's culture. I've experienced it from, many different races, and it just depends on your personality and whatnot. But the microaggressions that I experienced, being a woman of color, especially if you're kind of an introvert. I can be extroverted when I choose to be, but in the workplace, I do tend to kind of keep to myself, not because I'm antisocial or anything like that, but it's just I tend to keep things professional in business. And if you have that type of mindset, people are just immediately threatened by it, I notice. Even to the extent to where it's not even just your coworkers, but your boss to a certain extent. If they don't know you, they feel like they don't have anything on you, they feel like they can't control you, then there's microaggressions thrown at you where they try to do little things, little aggressions, to try to either put you in your place or make you feel like you're not what you think you are. And I think at the end of the day, they feel like you think that you're more than, because you don't speak much or you don't say much or you just kind of keep to yourself. It's almost kind of like who does he or she think they are. So I've experienced on the back end just, what do you call it? Aggression, of course, but just being undermined in my abilities, my capabilities, and just in that way. I felt it at every job. So I'll just start it off with that.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, now, I haven't been in corporate America all that long. I mainly did a lot more solopreneur, entrepreneur type stuff. But I was in the corporate culture for 2 years, 2.5, give or take. And then I just kind of jumped out because I did experience that right away. And one of the first thing I noticed was just, you have this, obviously just in general, you have this like, you got to go above and beyond. You got to do better than average just to be kind of considered. But then also, like you said, and this is just speaking from my experience being in my first corporate job where, I excelled pretty fast, pretty quickly. I landed a pretty high sale within like the first 7 days, and it was like a company record and all that stuff. But then you just realize like, that set a really high standard for everybody else. And, I could already just feel like, okay, who's this guy, right? Well, who do you think he is? That kind of concept. But then, and I know it's also corporate culture is competitive, and crazy enough, most of my corporate jobs, it was like I was around a lot of women. Like I very rarely worked around men. And if the men were more in the executive CEO roles, whatever. And then even in that experience too, of how they didn't know how to deal with a brother, somebody, because, working in these environments, although they're, mainly, female, dominant positions, at least in my experience working. But I was literally like the only person of color. So even it didn't matter if you're a male or female, there was nobody else of color in those positions. So when you're the only guy of that color, the only person of color in a conference room or in a room or in a meeting, it didn't matter. They're still just like, they don't really know how to engage. And like you said, there was that I grew up with the, mind your own business kind of thing. And so when I went into a corporate culture, people like getting deep and wanting to understand who you were. And it was almost like, it's none of your business, bro. Like, so yeah. I came, and I think that's part of our culture in general. Like, it's just like, especially if you came up in a different, in a hardcore environment or, a different type of street environment where, that can get you in trouble, asking too many questions, get into other people's business. So I think as black people in general, we kind of have that whole like, hey, mind your own business. So I came in with that same philosophy, keeping to myself and just, they had these company lunches and I had to get used to that. I didn't know, like, you go out, everyone goes together. I was broke. So I was trying to, make it. So I, brought my own lunch and I would just eat. And they'd be like, oh, we're going to go out to this, and they didn't pay for it, mind you. So I'm just like, well, I got my own lunch. And it was just, I don't know. So obviously that was the kind of the first microaggression, just the fact that I wasn't fitting in that sense. But I think they also didn't understand and they didn't take the time to understand my background, where I came from. And this is not normal for, for somebody like me to come into that. So I guess speaking to that was kind of, and that's a soft microaggression, but I think at the end of the day, it was something that they probably didn't realize, but they have to understand that, I didn't come from a lot of these people's backgrounds. So they came from, middle income or, had parents and all this. I was a foster kid and I came up in a different environment. So not to say that my foster mother wasn't loving and all that, but we just came up from a tougher environment than most. So I don't have those, let's sit and share who we are. So
right.
So yeah.
So with what you just said, and I was sitting here thinking about, why there's a difference between why some people feel like, okay, like we can socialize, we're free to socialize. As far as black culture, we weren't. We weren't raised to be that trusting because of the history that we have. And even if it's something that we didn't experience per se, like our ancestors did, there's still that perceived, like that's that upbringing that we got where you can't trust everybody or you can't trust everything. Just be cautious. And it's not even like in a fearful type of way, like they're an immediate threat to you. It's more like, just be careful that this could happen if you're that trusting. Don't be so open and naive. And I do find that comes across in the workplace, and they don't understand it. They don't understand, like you said, they don't understand and take the time out to figure out like why we have that level of caution when it comes to socializing and interacting with people. We come there, we do our jobs, we do our work and everything. We're not trying to be better than anybody, but it's like you can't just be. I found myself being in the workplace, and I just noticed that I couldn't just be, and not like be myself. That's not what I mean, but I mean I couldn't just exist and just do my job, without having to, feel like I needed to please somebody in some way. Because like I said, I was quiet, and it wasn't because like I was shy or anything. I was just reserved. And I think there's a fine line between people calling you shy and then people calling you reserved, because you can be reserved and not shy. But yeah, that was to piggyback off of what you said about, socializing. And I found that interesting with the lunch thing, because that is a big thing in corporate America. They want to have lunch, and if you're a person that's kind of like off to yourself, it can be uncomfortable because you're not used to, because now you have to open up and be vulnerable. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing when it comes to like those microaggressions. People get offended, without trying to understand. And we're not trying to be offensive. It's just that's how we are. Just give us our space and time, and then eventually we'll open up. But yeah, just patience.
Yeah, and I like that because, obviously I started coming around to the company lunches, little by little as I started to understand why they were doing it. But it was the same thing. It was just like, well, I'm still trying to make it. I'm trying to conserve. I'm not going to go to the, and they'd pick these elaborate restaurants to go to, and they'd be like, yeah, and it's not like the company was paying for it. At least in that, some companies do, but this one, they just be like, let's go, and they'd pick, and this was in a, expensive area in California. So in California, it's expensive in general. So, and then when this is my first corporate job, I moved to California with my car and 5 suitcases, and I moved to LA first. I was there for, I think, a year and a half or so, and then moved up to the Bay Area and then went back to LA. So, but I did all this with, little resources, nothing. I didn't know anybody. So, and then that whole experience too of just understanding where I was, understanding, being black and being where I was, and understanding the street culture, understanding I was in places where it didn't matter what color you were, but, as far as where you were at, you had to be careful. So, like you said, it's just that instinct of protection that you have from yourself, and not just being so trusting, especially being from a small town. Then you go to a large city, and the difference of what's expected. And then the way I carried myself, the way I talked, it was just different. I had, even people of color, black people telling me, man, you sound like, a white guy. Like, why do you talk like that? Like, it was so interesting to them to see this black guy who walked straight, didn't sag his pants. And it was just kind of like, it was a unique difference for them. And then in the corporate culture where they experience that, and then they see this, and it's interesting because being a foster kid, it's an easy question to ask. People go like, were you raised by white people? Like, that's just like kind of the go-to, because the way I am, they go, and it's an easier question because I'm a foster kid. So it's a safer question to be like, well, who raised you? And I know what they're thinking in the back of their mind. They're trying to figure out were you raised by, and and I can tell, they don't say this, but I can tell when I tell them I was actually raised by a single black woman, a single mom, and she was a black woman. And as far as all the foster homes I was in, I believe there were black women as well. Like I said, my entire life has been centered around women, and so that's a heavy influence on my life. But just that's one of the other things I've experienced, just understanding that the way I am, they're not used to that, and to have somebody of that, and to be able, and then you have to be comfortable. Like sometimes, a lot of times, this is the first time interacting with like a white guy, or because depending on where you're from, you don't have those interactions, and your family may have those like I said, those based off of back in the day and stuff like that. That's just stuff that kind of rolls up and rolls over generation after generation. So you're carrying 10 years, whatever it is, of that with you, and you don't even know. So, and a lot of times, I talk to brothers and I talk to people of color, and they don't really have a lot of white friends, or just other people outside of the race, depending on where they're from. And it doesn't matter. Like, so depending on where you're from, you just may not have been raised around that. But me growing up mainly Hispanic, right, around Hispanic people, so they, I spoke Spanish and all that. So I didn't really have a lot of relations with African Americans, people of color, that I could relate to. Like, so even for me, I had to kind of understand my culture because I wasn't exposed to it growing up. So that's just one of those things in the workplace. I think at the same time too, they're trying to figure out like where, how they have this perception, and then when you're not that perception, it's kind of like, and they want to test you a little bit. So we'll kind of roll into that, like, kind of continuing that conversation and what your experience has been with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because that's exactly what it is. It's that perception of what they've seen on TV, what they've heard, in the media. Their expectations are high, or they're different from who you actually are. Which is funny because you actually, even though you try to kind of like lay low in the workplace, because that was one I've tried it all with the microaggressions, just because I've noticed that had been an ongoing theme with me working in the workplace. It was, I would always get the backlash of like, oh, she's quiet, and it's a negative connotation, even though it's good to be quiet, because you're observant. But I always got the negative end of the stick when it came to, okay, she's quiet, so it's assumed that I don't know anything, or I'm shy and insecure. Like all those negative qualities come with shyness and quiet. Other than me, on the other on the other end, I'm thinking, okay, it's good to be quiet. I look at people who are quiet as observant. They're probably the smartest person in the room. Probably have the smartest things to say, just because they're not talking so much. So it was always a negative, stereotype when it came, to working in the workplace like that. But like I said, I just had to learn to stand out like that, and you actually stand out even more if you're quiet. There's a lot of power in silence. If you've ever, noticed that, if you're the quietest person in the room, I don't know why, but and I'm experiencing this now. That's why I'm able to really talk about it, because, like I said, not only have I experienced it so much in my life, but I'm still experiencing it because I'm not changing for anybody. But I am experiencing it now, working in background. It's funny, background. Pun intended, I guess. But I just noticed, like, I just try to fall back and be quiet and just kind of stay to myself. And I actually stand out more. I have people approaching me, some of them not so much, but I do have people approaching me as if, are you okay? Like, I don't know if you've ever gotten that kind of thing before in the workplace, where people have asked you, like, are you okay? Is everything all right? And I have this face where things just, I guess things show up on my face and people feel like I'm not, but it's like, no, I'm just quiet. I'm reserved. I tend to kind of like fall back and I don't talk so much, unless I have something to say. But have you experienced that? I guess that's my question to you. Have you experienced people assuming that something was wrong because you weren't talking?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I was a shy, quiet kid initially, which is strange, right, to think. And then over time, especially high school, I went from the nerdy school kid to a popular guy. Did sports, rapped, and all that. But I had to figure myself out because it was like I was trying to fit into the mode that people thought we should be, and what I saw on television. And then rolling into adulthood, rolling into the first corporate job, there was still that same perception of like, how do I fit in? And then me being, like you said, reserved, not even reserved, because at that point I was a pretty outspoken person. I connected with a lot of different people, had a lot of acquaintances, but ultimately it was like when I went into that environment, like you said, I was just being observant. And then there was a lot of things that I just wasn't used to. I wasn't used to people trying to be in my business and understand what do you do outside of work and all this stuff. So like you said, I just think, and then automatically they go, oh, well, there's something, going on. And then they want to get personal about that and just kind of like, well, you can talk to us, human resources is here for anything, how, uncomfortable you feel. And I was just like, I'm just trying to adjust to you guys. Like, give me some time. Like, it was, to me, and I don't know, my experience, and this was a smaller startup, but at the same time, it was just, they had a family culture, right? And don't get me wrong, some people get with that. I'm not really big on the, let's be a family, work family. I get it. I understand why people do it. They want to, but I don't want to connect to you that much. Like, I'm not like that guy that wants to like know, my coworker to the extent like I just know them personally. You can give me some stuff about you. But at the end of the day, I'm just not that guy, and that was their culture. So I wasn't really fitting into their culture, ultimately, just me being the way I am. And that's just, and I'm a outgoing, outspoken type of guy. So imagine, because like you said, it stemmed off of just the distrust of people and just not wanting to have everybody in the office. Like, I'm just one of those, I don't want my business out on the street, as we say. And so why do I want to share all this? Oh, you have a girlfriend, I'm like, what is that of your business? Like, I just never felt I needed to share that. And so I think corporations and at that time too, they just didn't have that understanding of the different kind of, backgrounds. And so, and they have to understand that we're not all willing to share that information. And so, and there's nothing wrong with this. Like, you just got to give us time to adjust, and then we're going to do what we feel is best for the situation. And you have to accept it. And I felt like they were forcing me into the family culture, forcing me into, because it's almost like you feel like the token black guy. Like, I mean, especially because there wasn't anybody who looked like me. So they never took the time to say, how are you feeling, like being the only person of color? Because it might be an uncomfortable conversation for them too, I'm sure. But you got to have those conversations because clearly in your company culture, like, it just wasn't there. And so, I remember the one person of color that was, she didn't work there, but she was one of the former co-owner's wife. And this was an interracial relationship. And the same thing, like, she's very well spoken, really, but it was just kind of like, I remember talking with her and there was this huge disconnect too, because it was just like, what do we talk about? And they're trying to be like cool with each other because it's expected. Oh, they can relate. But even then, like, maybe she had the same experience, right? And then I can figure, she probably dealt with the whole interracial stuff, being a person of color and being with a white guy. Like, so I just think all this stuff is stuff other races and other people don't really have to think about as much, because there's a lot more of them in the spaces that they are in, especially if you're a white guy and you go into a sales, and generally there's other white guys and other white women and Hispanics and but it's just, and depending, and you'll have a better experience than I do. I'm speaking from being raised in New Mexico, where there's like 10 of us on the entire town, and then going to like LA, well, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of us there too, but then going into company cultures and corporate cultures where still there wasn't a lot of us in these company cultures. So how do you deal with that? I don't know. It was just weird for me overall. And now, like you said, now that I'm older, looking back, I can see how, wow, I came around eventually and I was doing stuff with everybody, but it was just like this missing link that I had in myself about who I was. And then also this pent up stress that came from not just the job, but then in general, just not having anybody to kind of talk to about that. Now, my roommate, he's an older black guy, kind of schooled me a lot on that. And I will give him a lot. I'm not going to mention his name here, but I will say, he kind of gave me the black experience I was seeking, because he was older, but he came from that level of being a black man. And he also came from that level of having sons. So he talked to me like a son, like a father to a son, which I never had, right? So, and that's another stereotype, but that is true. Like, being a foster kid. Now my dad passed away because he was older. I never met him. But my dad was like in his 70s when he had us. So, and my mom was in her early 20s. That's another story. But ultimately, just saying, I didn't grow up with a father figure and then raised by women. So I didn't have that figure. And then anybody around me, there wasn't a positive experience. There wasn't a positive black experience for me as far as a black man, So I didn't have those role models to look up to. So yeah. I just think he gave me something I was lacking at that time, and the corporate culture definitely couldn't give it to me. Mm-hmm. And even the guys there, they're trying to, we're brothers and da-da-da-da. But I get what they're trying to do, but I'm just like, you guys don't know me. I don't know you. Like, we're not brothers, man. Like, and so I just felt like, why? Like, what are we doing here? And so it was weird. And I'm trying to be as diplomatic about it as possible without naming names and naming the company and doing any of this stuff. But there's just a lot of interesting stuff that went on there. That's probably not normal, but just at the same time, too, also that on top of this, I think made that experience very unique, needless to say. So, yeah, it was. And I guess going into that on top of how you felt being a black woman in the spaces, how you were treated, how you felt they were treating you, and then what was something that you wish could have been changed, or like I said, my roommate gave me the experience, the black experience that I needed. I don't know if you ever found that or if you had an avenue for that, being in Louisiana too. So yeah, I have had an avenue. Like I said, my experience is actually completely 180 from you, since I have grown up around a lot of black people. But
what I would, I guess going back, if I had to choose, it would be being allowed that level of freedom that they're allowed that level of freedom. Just like they're allowed freedom to be inclusive and social, allow me that freedom to be reserved and observant. And then be accepting of that no matter what, and not being offended because I'm not trusting you, or I have, things going on where I'm trying to, take it slow or whatever. Because you're taking it fast, I'm not getting offended. If you're like that, be patient with me as well, and I think that there's that level of intolerance that we have for each other in the workplace where we get offended and it's not even about you. But I did have my sister, because she's a Black woman who works in corporate. She's actually an attorney.
Oh, cool.
So she can tell you some stories as well. That's why she was interested in the podcast, because of what we were talking about. She can definitely relate to, workforce microaggressions. But I did have her to fall back on, and we both talk about our experiences, being Black women in the workplace. And then just not even just being Black women in the workplace, but being reserved, observant women in the workplace, because she's like how I am. Even though she's an attorney, you would think that kind of personality would be okay. You're like you're a mad dog in the courthouse, and it's like, no, we were actually the same when it came to like workhouse. What we experienced working with people who were more outgoing and social. But I had my mom to fall back on. I even had my dad, to a certain extent, to fall back on with advice and whatnot. So I did have a support system. So I'm grateful for that. And they always strived and told me to be myself. And that's why when I come out here and I come into spaces that, really are different from me, that's why it's hard for me to change and bend, because it's like, I was raised to just be who you are, and I find people still get offended. Even I've had people get offended even when I've explained why I do what I do. It's not even me just kind of being observant and I've never said anything. I've tried everything, Emmanuel. Like I've literally, sad to say, I've actually tried the avenue of being more social. But the fallback with that was I'm not naturally like that. So there's going to be some days where I'm going to fall back into my natural habitat. Yeah. And now I'm being looked at as, what's wrong with you? You were like this when we first, you know what I'm saying? So that's the part of, like, when you put on a mask like that, it's actually it's not good for you. It's not good for anybody, but it's definitely detrimental to you. Because if you're not naturally like that, then it's going to show up. Eventually it's going to show up. So where I'm at right now, I'm gotten older, or so I'm more myself now. Yeah. And I'm more liberated, and I don't care, at this point, what people think. And not in an obnoxious way or anything like that, where I'm just like, oh, I am who I am. You have some people who are just like, you're going to have to accept me. No, I've worked on myself. And that's the biggest thing too, is to work on yourself, to find out who you are, and finding a support system. I think that's the thing too, finding like-minded people who are able to give you advice and support on what it is that you're experiencing to make these situations flow better. It's better than you handling it by yourself, because people are constantly going to make you feel a certain way. They're going to make you feel like you need to change yourself, or you need to do this to appease them, And I think that's the thing, when you realize that it's not about you appeasing someone else and trying to please someone else, that people pleaser mentality, when you don't have that nice and just be yourself and authentic, you actually find that you attract the people that are supposed to be around you, giving you advice. And it's going to cause you to be more yourself and authentic. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm striving to be the most authentic person unapologetically. I've said that to my sister, quite a number of times, where that's where I am right now, because I've people pleased for so long, and I think we're generally brought up in the corporate world where it's like people are looking at you like, oh, okay, well, like, you need to change. But like I said, I'm just so glad I had that support system that told me I didn't have to.
Yeah, and the segue into that, I think there's a few things I was writing down. So one of the first things is that the people pleaser concept, and I think that comes from also being taught growing up too, that you you have to change for them, right? You can't be this way, you have to go. So we have the way we talk to, like we say, we go into offices and we have our, how you doing, sir? And then you have the way, and so, but I just feel as a culture, as black people in this country, you got to understand where it stems from. People go, well, it's not like that anymore. But at the same time, yes, I talk this way naturally. This is how I am, right? But you got to understand other cultures. I don't know if you had to experience the idea that you have to change. Like when you go get a job, Tyrell, you got to do this, talk this way, walk this way, and you're changing who you are. And and we're here talking black, like being general about the black experience in a world that's still figuring it out. And that's what that is. Like, we don't even know what black is. Like, we were taught that's what it is. And so when we go into these corporate environments, and naturally I talk this way, I walk this way naturally. But I know there's a lot of guys out there that's not who they were, right? And don't get me wrong, there's certain things you can't take from the street to the boardroom. Like, it's just, but at the same time, it's okay to be black in corporate America, but it wasn't at a certain point in time. And I still think that aggression is there from that we don't even realize, right? And I still feel like there's a lot of, like, one thing I feel, because I had a mentor, lucky to meet a mentor out in the Bay Area of Asian descent. And crazy thing is, he's the first guy to ever tell me I didn't have to be, a rapper, an actor, or whatever. I could, do business. And so I carried this whole different mentality after a while, and I was going to his trainings and stuff like that. And then and I think it's that whole, like you said, thinking more people. And I don't know if it's just in general, but like I feel especially as a black man, when you carry yourself with this confidence. And I like the way Deion Sanders says it. He's just like, don't let my confidence offend your insecurity, right? But and that's what we needed. That's what I was lacking, especially in the corporate workplace. Because you got these CEOs, and these are your token white guys. Went to these fancy schools, and and they're confident. They walk around. But if you do that as a black man in the corporate culture, it's like, whoa, who does he think he is, right? You're like, what is he doing? And I remember getting that last back. And I worked at 2 different startups in the Bay Area, and both of these, because the way I can tell when I talked, people just kind of had that they weren't taking me seriously. And I just feel like I wanted to be taken seriously so bad, and I was seeking that validation. And now I go, why? Why did I need that man or that person to validate who I was? But it's obviously that, that back end stuff that we just don't realize we carry. We're seeking validation from the man, as we call it, right? We want that guy, that woman to say, yes, yeah, that's good. You're a good boy, good girl. And I don't know. And it's definitely in our culture, especially, like, why are we seeking validation? Like, if you are who you are, get up and be you, be a black man, be a black woman, be a Hispanic woman, be whoever you are, and just work that angle, like work it to the best of your ability. We don't need anybody to validate us. And I still think we're seeking that, and we're trying to put ourselves into that box of, I am this way. This is what they want. I'm trying to be a good boy, good girl. And I just had to get over that and get over people not being comfortable with a confident black man in the workplace. And I remember leaving the first corporation I was with. I gave them 2 years on the dot. I told them exactly, I'd give you 2 years. And I remember leading up to the time I was about to leave, they just took it so personally. And and sometimes it'd be like, and I could tell they were like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do without us, right? We gave you this job. We gave you all this. And it's almost like the savior mentality that they have that they just don't even know they have. It's like, oh, what would you be doing if I didn't give you this? If I didn't give you this job, what would you be doing? Working at Burger King, flipping burgers? Like, in their mind, that's what they're thinking. Like, you wouldn't have anything without me. And that's what you've been given as a white man in this country. You've been given so much that you don't even realize, like, what you're doing. Sometimes it's like you're almost like shocked. Oh my God, you're saying no to us. You're walking away from us. How dare you? We should be firing you, not you quitting, right? And so I just don't understand. I understand now, but I was just like, that's why they were so angry, is because it was a confident black man saying, I don't need you anymore. And there's like, how dare you? How dare you? Right? And so, and then it came, I mean, at the end of the time, you know, we came to agreement and it was what it was. But if for a good 2 weeks, or a good 2 months, it was just punch after punch. I mean, they'd be on conference calls and they'd be thanking everybody and they'd leave me out.
Yeah.
And once again, it's like, what? You know, and even my coworkers at the time were like, man, that was jacked up. Because they knew, I mean, I contributed a lot to that company. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, we apologize. You forgot. Like, no, you had everyone listed and you left me out on purpose. Why? Because I'm a confident black man leaving your company willingly, telling you, I'll leave, you know, and you need me. And they did. And they realized that. So they couldn't fire me. Even if they wanted to, they needed me. I brought that much value to their company. And so he was just mad that you know, and now if I was a white guy from Penn State, whatever, doing that, I mean, he might have still been mad. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I don't know if it would have been as an aggressive exit as I had. Yeah. And that's just and that's the realness that we're talking about here. It's just like, that's the kind of stuff I've experienced. And that's microaggression. Once again. Yeah. Right? Doesn't matter if I was a white man doing that. Would the experience have been different? I can't tell you because I'm not a white man. But at the end of the day, I do feel that if I was a white man, that it wouldn't have been as aggressive. I wouldn't have had that kind of exit. Right? It would have been like, okay, you're going on to bigger, better things. All right, awesome, sir. But you know, because I'm a black man, it's like, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? You know, you're gonna create a business? What are you gonna do? Sell drugs? You know, like. That's the perception, and that's what we have to deal with, and that's just the honest truth, right? That's what we have to deal with, and I don't know how many others do have to feel that way, but this is real experience, right? So and the segue into ending up and wrapping up our conversation here with stuff like that is just being okay with, like you said, who you are as a person, and understanding these microaggressions are stemmed from a long line of stuff. So what's something that you want to wrap up today's discussion with, that you want, you know, everyone to feel and to take away from this discussion?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can talk about this all day. You know, I literally could, just off of the experiences and, you know, just solutions that we could work on. And, you know, it sounds like I was listening to what you were saying, you know, and it's very sad. But I don't know, it's almost kind of like you were experiencing like power plays. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's the thing I want to really wrap up on, is that we realize that, you know, we are powerful people, mm-hmm. you know, and because they feel threatened, it's almost like you have to think about it like this, you know, if you're not that much of a powerful person, would they be threatened by you? Mm. If you didn't stand out in some way or you didn't shine in some way, why would they be threatened? You have to look at it like that. Why would a person be threatened by you just being yourself? You have to have something that, you know, that threatens them if you know, to get that type of microaggressions thrown at you like that, you know. But that's what I wanted to wrap up with is, you know, like I said, I'm working towards being authentically and unapologetically myself, you know, and that's what I want to inspire in the community. And not just black, and like we talked about earlier, not just black, but just with anybody who's experiencing, you know, the same type of you know, microaggressions or these power plays just for being you. It's funny because I had a conversation with a white woman. She's actually the same age as me. Mm-hmm. And we related so well. It's funny, like, she wasn't black. It wasn't like, oh, okay, we related because we were black and because of our experiences. Mm-hmm. No, this was a white woman who's the same age as me, who works in background with me, and we just connected. And it's funny because, like, I don't open up to people about experiences like what we're talking about. I normally keep to myself. But it's interesting because it was almost like I'm looking at a reflection of myself when she was talking. Wow. That's how crazy it was. I'm almost like, who is this? Who are you? Like, she was just like an opposite version of, she was just a white version of me. But it was just interesting because I'm sitting back looking at her like, that's crazy. She would say some of the things that I would say, feel some of the things that I was feeling, or she was saying some of the things that I was feeling. But it's interesting that we're talking about it's not just color, it's culture. Like, we have people who experience these things as well. you know. But not to go on about that, because like I said, I can talk about this all day given my experiences, but I just want to inspire, you know, anybody who is going through this, just to find a support system, and don't falter and keep being who you are, because eventually you're gonna, it's not even gonna matter what they think. So
Wow. Yeah. And wrapping it up once again, I feel the same way. And for anyone listening to the podcast, feel free to reach out, you know, in the comments, and we'll have an email that you guys can reach out to us with any questions, concerns, and stuff like that. Anything you want to get off your chest, because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, it's we're talking black here, about the black experience, but it's not just about the black experience. Ultimately, like, I feel like, especially in this country, you know, we segment. And it's okay to talk about, you know, Latinx. It's okay to talk about this and that and that. But when we put black on anything, it becomes like, oh, you know, why isn't it inclusive? Why is it just black? And I feel like, and I don't care what you guys say, I don't care what you guys say. It's every time you put black on anything, people go, why aren't we included? You know, it's just Hispanic culture, Latin, it's a culture thing. Like, you cannot relate to that. That's what Denzel was saying. I'm gonna put this clip on there too.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not
produced this
color,
work?
it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're
Steven
in a space
Spielberg did Schindler's List. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas, right? Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List. But they're cultural differences. You know, I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference. So it's a culture.
When he said, you know, when they're asking, why does it have to be a black director? And why does it, you know, and he's just being honest. He said, because, you know, so-and-so can't relate to a hot comb touching their hair. You can't relate to that. There's certain things that you cannot understand if you aren't part of this culture. So at the end of the day, why we call it Talk Black? Because it's about our experience. At the same time, you don't have to be black to listen to this podcast, but it's okay to say, this is what we're experiencing, right? And if you are experiencing it too, there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to give us the space, and we have to be okay. So that's one thing how I want to leave this conversation is it's okay to say, I'm black in America, I'm African American in America, this is my experience. And don't let anybody say, you know, well, get over it. You know, that was back in the day. You guys aren't, you know, slaves anymore. And doesn't matter. This is still, we're talking about, I've never been in chains. I've never done, you know, never been a slave in that kind of way. But what I've just explained to you has happened to me in today's age. So at the end of the time, it doesn't matter. So just be okay, and knowing, like what you were saying, step into who you are as a person. Don't let anybody tell you it's not okay to do this and not okay to stand up. And I think we're getting better with that and understanding that we all come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and we're just trying to understand each other. And that way we can live together better. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things. And then, as always, you know, we want to end things with an interesting quiz question. So yeah, what we're gonna do today is I have my question. You know, yours is kind of interesting. So I was gonna end it with something pretty cliche, and I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna do, and I just learned about this myself. So totally cool if you don't understand. But there's a lot of companies out there that you don't realize are black owned, and it's kind of interesting because you don't know that they're black owned. And that's interesting. Like, you know, we don't know that they're black owned because the owners aren't put in the media. They're not put out there that these black people started this thing. It's always somebody else that gets to shine. And why is that, once again? So I want to lead the way with a documentary I just watched. And like I said, I knew about this company, had no idea it's black owned, but basically it was a way to go to the movies. You can watch a movie every day of the week for one single price. And I'm going to leave it there. You may or may not remember this. It was everywhere at one point in time. And believe it or not, it is black owned. It was, and it's still, and it is now, now that it's out of, I don't want to give up too much, but at the end of the day, it's something you know about, and we will talk about in our next episode. But yeah, so I'll leave it there. So we can watch a movie every day for one single price, any theater. Ooh, yeah, and it's black owned. So That being said, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for joining us again today for these interesting conversations. And like we say, we want to just kind of unpack the black experience in a world that's still figuring it out. So till next time, remember, it's not color, it's culture. Until next time, let's talk black.
Talk black. Yeah.